your speech, but then I would like permission. One, ask for the clarification, and two, also respond to this accusation.
Yes. You will
Thank you,
ma'am. Some 2 minutes, not more than that. Not a lamba speech, but you will get the time. I'm बोल रही हूँ ना मैं, जब आपका नाम लिया जा रहा है, तो उस समय वो जो बात उन्होंने बोली होगी, you also can clarify, you also can ask clarification, both the things. But that doesn't mean लंबा speech नहीं, ये भी ध्यान में रखो. Yes, Minister. आज क्या हो रहा है तुम्हें? रंजना जी, रंजिता जी बैठिए. आपके सभी नेता सक्षम हैं. राहुल जी सक्षम नहीं मानती हो क्या? आपको बोलना चाहिए. बैठिए. Yes, Minister. Yes, Minister.
Madam, thank you, Madam. Madam, this entire campaign has been built on falsehoods and misleading the nation with untruths. And every time we come up to give a response, they are not even hearing. They are not even hearing the facts. When I've already pointed out how one thing was being said outside and another thing was being said inside. I'll give you another example of how everybody is called a liar. One senior Congress leader, who is also a member of this house, called the Air Force chief as liar. You call the Prime Minister, you call the Raksha Mantri, and the senior leader also charges the Air Chief as lying. I mean, is there a limit? Now, they only stopped short of calling the Supreme Court that they've done everything wrong. I want to now ask the question, are they so irresponsible? I hope irresponsible is a word you'll accept in the parliament. Are they so irresponsible that they even go to Pakistan asking for help? One of the very senior member of the Congress party, who is not here, I'm not naming him, everybody will know, went to Pakistan to say, इनको हटाइए, मोदी सरकार को हटाने के लिए हमें मदद कीजिए. He has gone and spoken to Pakistan. Another leader also speaks about how this government has not really been helpful for them. All right. Now, by asking the weapon details and the other details of the aircraft that you're buying in the parliament, which I repeat, the weaponry air package details are definitely covered under the Secrecy Act. I repeat it. And therefore, also remind the Congress, how many times before have they not invoked the secrecy clause and said, sorry, in the national interest, we will not say this. So what is new about that? We have given, and I repeat, I've been reminded periodically that you said you will disclose the price. Yes, the basic aircraft price has already been disclosed. We stand by that. But to ask the price of weaponry, to ask the price of the air package, avionics and everything else is certainly covered under the Secrecy Act. Ma'am, let me now, before going to the next part, let me now say, if they are really serious about getting the details, if they are serious about getting the facts on this, I want to tell you, when we were replying, when the former Raksha Mantri, Finance Minister was replying, what was happening in this house, ma'am? I would want to remind you, ma'am, it's with a great deal of disappointment and grief, I like to say, you wanted the debate on Rafale. We wanted to come and participate in it. You had the former Raksha Mantri speak, and we were going with the debate. What was the scene here, madam? Not of what was happening in the well, but also of other things which I would draw your attention. If really we are serious about this debate in the interest of the national security, people were taking photographs, madam. People were taking photographs of one another sitting in the opposition desks. People were passing papers to say, make aircrafts, arrow and throw it at finance minister. This was happening, madam. If you're really serious about getting the reply which the former Raksha Mantri, present finance minister, was giving, was it not happening there? Was it happening not there? And when this was happening, sarcastically, I've been told, are you hiding under those ADMK members? But today when I respond to his legitimate quotations, people want to give clarification. Today they are left without even the fig leaf of those members here to hide for all the falsehood that they've been putting against the government, for all the untruths that they've said against. They don't even have the fig leaf of these members in the well who can give them that hiding cover. You stand up to say, where is the Raksha Mantri hiding behind? You don't even have that fig leaf today. You can't hide it anywhere. I'm giving you the facts. On the pricing, madam, I would want to tell you, madam, on the pricing, I would want to tell you, how many times we've heard prices being quoted by the Congress. How many times? And in that, what is the consistency, madam, with which these prices are being quoted? I would like to remind, if they are serious, let at least the seriousness be shown in everything that they say. 29th January, Jan Akroshan Rally, Delhi. Jan Akrosh Rally, thank you, yes. My Hindi is very poor, yeah. Thank you for correcting. Jan Akrosh Rally, Delhi. 700 crore is the price that they put on us. 20th July in Parliament, 520 crores, saying that's their price. August 11th in the public rally in Raipur, 540 crores. August 13th in Hyderabad, 526 crores. I want to ask them, do they at least know what they're talking about? Have they at least sat with the Raksha Mantri to find out? No. This is the kind of inconsistency. Throw anything at them and expect that to answer. So I would want to say, Congress party should do its homework before they even start telling us what they have to. The next, pricing again. Madam, 670 crores. 670 crores has already been disclosed in the Parliament for the basic price. Whereas they say 526 crores. I want to tell you, there is nowhere any documentary evidence on what is the price. I want to tell you, 526 crore I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 526 crore which they quote as an MMRCA price. 526 crore which they quote as MMRCA price. I want to tell you, listen to the facts. There is no confirmation for that price that they are quoting. This is our price. There is no confirmation that it is 526 crore per aircraft in the official documents. From where are they getting that? God knows. But I'll also give you some more. As already intimated in the Parliament, we have said the basic price under the IGA is 670 crore per aircraft. Basic price. Now, will you want to compare like with like, or will you want to compare one apple and one orange? I would like to tell you here. If it is a like to like, listen. Yeah, listen, I'm answering you. In a like to like comparison, madam, the price obtained in the 126 medium multi-role combat aircraft, about which they are constantly talking, the non-deal, the price would be 737 crores. The price obtained in the intergovernmental agreement that we have signed in 2016, and that price, which is already disclosed, is 670 crores, is about 9% lower than that 126 MMRCA basic price. We have got a better deal, madam, for this country. For this country, we have got a better deal. All right? Go further. Then go further. Go further. Comparing the cost of 526 crore with 1,600 crore, comparing the cost of 526 crore with 1,600 crore is like comparing apples to oranges. Because, is it right, I ask, to quote a cost that is not substantiated? I told you 526 is nowhere, but anyway, you didn't even have an agreement, but you're quoting that. It's not substantiated. Where no contract has been finalized, all right? It seems that the cost which is being quoted, the 526, is somewhat probably referring to a quote which was given in 2007, which exists somewhere as a quote. They have taken it upon themselves to say that's their deal price. Will it remain the same in 2011? Will it remain in 2014?
Without quoting a price.
I'm coming to that. Be patient. Be patient, okay? Will it remain? Will it? I'm coming to that line. I'm coming to that line. Will it remain? Will it remain? Will it remain the same in 2011? Will it remain the same in 2014? Will it remain the same in 2015? Will it remain the same in 2016? Because there was an escalation cost, there was an escalation rate. There is an escalation cost which is put in each one, and also the exchange rate variation which has to be taken on to be calculated. The price of a basic aircraft, madam, I would want you to please get some order in the house. I am after all answering them. I am answering them, and they don't want to have some answers given to them. They are more keen on disturbing me rather than wanting to hear the facts. If they are keen, they should listen to the facts and not shout me down. Not shout me down. And unbelievable. I am answering their question. Madam, escalation cost. Will you? Madam, I'll tell you, madam. Will escalation?
आप बैठो, कुछ नहीं बोलो।
मैडम, escalation cost.
मिनिस्टर बहुत अच्छा दे रही है जवाब, तो कोई नहीं बोलने दो।
I'm responding to you, madam.
Yes.
Escalation or exchange rate variations not work? Will escalation or exchange rate variations not work? The price of a basic aircraft cannot be compared with a battle-ready aircraft, with weaponry, with electronic warfare equipments, with maintenance, with spares, with test equipments, and other associated costs. So let us not compare apples with oranges. Your 526, the 526 that they're quoting should be compared with 737, which is their basic aircraft's cost. So 670 with 737 is very clear. Now, madam, I'll go over. Ma'am, I'll come to the processes. I want to highlight about process. I like to talk about the process. They keep talking, having gone to the court.
Any basic courtesies. The gentleman has no basic courtesies, and on the basis of falsehood, their demands are absolutely ridiculous.
Madam,
he needs to learn some basic courtesies.
ये खड़गे जी की गलती है, उनको बोलने का समय नहीं।
I now talk about the negotiations with the French side, because process is very important. Negotiations with the French side were conducted from May 2015 to April 2016. Negotiating team was constituted to negotiate the terms and conditions, madam, for the procurement of 36 Rafale aircraft with the French government. The Indian negotiating team was headed by the Deputy Chief of Air Staff of Indian Air Force, and it comprised of Joint Secretary and Acquisitions Manager Air, Joint Secretary Defense Offset Management Wing, Joint Secretary and Additional Financial Advisor, Finance Manager Air, Advisor Cost, and the Assistant Chief of Air Staff as members from Indian government side. The French government side was headed by Director General of Armament, DGA, Ministry of Defense of the government of France. 74 meetings were held, which included 48 internal INT meetings, 26 external INT meetings with the French side, and they were held throughout, as I said, between May 2015 and April 2016. Now, all the 7 members of the INT signed the report which was produced by the INT, which also indicated better terms and conditions that were arrived at as a result of the negotiation. INT report, and the better terms are compared with the terms which were of the 126 MMRCA. Now, INT report was finalized and signed on 21st July 2016, madam. Let me underline the fact the Joint Secretary concerned, who stated to have raised objections. Now I'll address this. Who stated to have raised some objections, because during the negotiations a lot of opinions are recorded also. We didn't hide anybody's viewpoint. But that Joint Secretary, who they love quoting, saying, oh, he differed from the whole process, was the one who also signed, all the 7 members signed the report, and he was the one to sign the draft which went for the CCS approval. So don't constantly raise that question without hearing the reply. During the discussions, a lot of things are said and they are recorded. They are not hidden. They are not wiped off. But it is that same Joint Secretary who signed the CCS report which went to the CCS for approval. And he also, along with the 6 others who make up for the 7 members totally, also signed the contract negotiating committee's, INT's report. So, misleading this country with false information, sorry, will not gel. This is the truth. Ma'am, I also want to now say, constant reference, madam, to why wasn't there a bank guarantee? Why wasn't there a sovereign guarantee? Listen to the answers which I'm giving on specific questions that you've raised. Why sovereign guarantee was not taken? I want to give you an answer for that, madam. I can cite at least 2 previous examples. I will like to cite it first and then tell you what we've got here. You need answers, right? No bank guarantee was provided or is being provided for any foreign military sales, contracts which are signed between Government of India and the US government. That's one example where there was no sovereign guarantee. 2, no bank guarantees are provided even in the Rosso-Boron export of Russia, from where I was happy to hear Dharmendra Yadav ji say that we bought from Russia, and that was bought during Honorable Mulayam Singh ji when he was Raksha Mantri, and because Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was his graceful self, said very good words in praise. Agreed. Of course, we are not fortunate to have such graceful people who can appreciate in our opposition now. But the fact remains, where you have bought from Russia, you didn't have a sovereign guarantee then also. Dharmendra Yadav ji should be reminded that even in that case there was no sovereign guarantee. In this case, I would like to tell you, the letter of comfort about which everybody shouts, I want to say it's been signed by the French Prime Minister. they have also stated that these constitute a unique and unprecedented level of involvement of the French government, which has been decided in coherence with the strategic partnership between India and France. So it's not anything small, madam, an IGA, intergovernmental agreement with this kind of a guarantee, when they themselves have purchased without any sovereign guarantee. Today, with a guarantee like this, with an intergovernmental agreement, they keep asking that question. Take the reply now, factual reply now. Madam, then I would want to ask you, sorry madam, I'm taking my time about answering because this is an issue which has captured the attention because of the misleading campaign of the Congress. I would want to tell you now that this is a case of commercial favoritism to any party by the Indian government, as the option to choose the IOP does not rest with the Indian government, unquote. Now this is the second I want to draw your attention. Now third, I'll come to the next quote, madam. On the price details, I'm reading paragraph 26. Paragraph 26, madam. Quote. 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 We have examined closely. We have examined closely the price details and the comparison of the prices of the basic aircraft. Madam, I'm repeating this. Quote, we have examined closely the price details and the comparison of the prices of the basic aircraft along with escalation costs as under the original RFP as well as under the intergovernmental agreement. We have also gone through the explanatory note on the costing item wise. And then after a few lines, they continue to say, we say no more as the material has to be kept in a confidential domain.
No, madam.
Unquote. All right?
Not the job of this court.
All right? Now I come to the third one.
It matters like the present.
Now I come to the third one, ma'am. The paragraph 25. The paragraph 25. Paragraph 25. Paragraph 25. Quote. The material placed. The paragraph 25. The material placed before us shows that the
रिजोल्यूशन ही है,
रिजोल्यूशन ही है, मैं वही बता रहा हूँ,
रिजोल्यूशन की बात हो रही है,
वही बता रहा हूँ, इतने मुकाबले क्यों हो? वही
यस यू आर राइट जी,
population issue is equally important.
Yes.
And my only request is, I go with the wisdom of this house, but invariably the private member business always becomes a casualty.
No, actually,
always becomes a casualty.
Right.
And I leave it to the conscience of the house, but I would insist that private member business should also get priority. That toward the Friday, towards the fag end of the afternoon, we always discuss it, and it is equally important business,
right.
And it should be discussed. I don't know whether in this part of the winter session we'll be able to do it or not, but I think it is necessary that we should also go into private member business.
नहीं, मैं भी आपकी बात समझ रही हूँ कि हमने इसको टालना नहीं चाहिए, हम देख लेते हैं, इसको टालने की बात नहीं है, मगर अभी जो कंटिन्यूएशन में चल रहा है डिस्कशन, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग ऑल ऑफ यू कि इसको अगर आने वाले 2 दिन में भी मिले समय तो देख लेंगे, मगर ऐसा नहीं कि इसको टालेंगे, मगर वी विल थिंक अबाउट इट some other day. So, House and continue.
Madam. Yes. Ma'am, I was on the Supreme Court read from paragraph 25 and 26. Now I'll go to paragraph 24. I'm going to paragraph 24. I'm reading this, madam.
अभी अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं कांग्रेस के पक्ष के लोगों से कहना चाहता हूँ, 1 मिनट भी उन्होंने रक्षा मंत्री जी को गंभीरता से सुनने का प्रयास नहीं किया। मैं आपके माध्यम से कांग्रेस पक्ष के लोगों को कहना चाहता हूँ कि कभी आपकी आत्मा आपको इजाजत दे और सच बोलने का आपका मन करे तो ये रक्षा मंत्री का वक्तव्य आपको बहुत काम आएगा।
Pricing again, madam. Supreme Court again. Paragraph 24. Pricing. Court, pricing, madam. Paragraph 24 from.
Only your statement will be on record.
Thank you. Paragraph 24.
मौतला गए, इनके पास कुछ तत्व नहीं है, झूठ के आधार पे जीतने के अलावा इनके पास कुछ नहीं है।
I quote, madam. I quote, the challenge. I quote, madam. The challenge to the pricing of the aircrafts. Very important, madam. Please listen to this. The quote, the challenge to the pricing of the aircrafts by the petitioners is sought to be made on the ground that there are huge escalations in costs as per the material in public domain, as found in magazines and newspapers. We did initially express our disinclination to even go into the issue of pricing. However, by a subsequent order, to satisfy the conscience of the court, it was directed that details regarding the costs of the aircrafts should also be placed in sealed covers before the court. I go to paragraph 25 in continuation. The material placed before us shows, I'm quoting again, the material placed before us shows that the government has not disclosed pricing details other than the basic price of aircraft even to the parliament. So we have not lied to the court. I reread that line. Paragraph 25 says this. The material placed before us shows that the government has not disclosed pricing details other than the basic price of the aircraft even to the parliament on the ground that sensitivity of pricing details could affect national security, apart from breaching the agreement between the two countries. So this paragraph very clearly tells you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that we have not misled the court, and they acknowledge that we have not given any more details other than the basic price. Now, and then in paragraph 22. Our country, I quote again, our country cannot afford to be underprepared in a situation where our adversaries are stated to have acquired not only 4th generation but even 5th generation aircrafts, of which we have none, unquote. Now, if this is what the Supreme Court has said, we constantly have these opposition parties telling us that you misled the court, and this is unfair. They are unfair to court also. Now, I'll come to the end, Deputy Speaker, sir. There are many questions which I would wish to answer, but very importantly, I want to say, we have asked for, or we have applied to the court, we have not waited for the Congress to do a press conference, but on our own, we have next morning gone to the Supreme Court asking for a correction. Now, I'll come to the details on that, sir, because it's been raised by quite a few members. I can name Mohammed Salim ji, who probably is not here, Jaydev Galla ji, who's not here, and also Karge ji. On perusal of the details, detailed order from the court, it was observed that some contents of paragraph 25 of the judgment were factually incorrect and were not reflecting correctly the written submissions made to the Honorable Supreme Court in a sealed cover. An application for correction has been filed on 15/12/2018 in the Honorable Supreme Court. Comparison of the extracts, and that's where I want to draw your attention, Deputy Speaker. I have, from the government side, we have ensured that the paragraphs that we've quoted are produced there, and the paragraph in the verdict are also produced there in the correction appeal, and therefore said this is where the misinterpretation probably has come in. So we have not hidden what we had submitted to the court first, that we are asking for a correction. We are stating that and also stating what has been, as a result, misinterpreted by the court. So the comparison of the extracts of the note submitted by the Union of India to the Honorable Court and paragraph 25 of the Honorable Supreme Court judgment dated 14/12, I would want to just read it before you so that you know it. Note submitted by the Union government in a sealed cover. Sir, this is a bit too much, sir. I'm responding to you. The government has already shared the pricing detail with the CAG. I want to say this. We said to the court, the government has already shared the pricing details with the CAG. The statement in the paragraph 25 says the pricing details have, however, been shared with the Controller and Auditor General, and therefore the hereinafter referred to the CAG. So to that extent, the paragraph 25 also being put. Then we've also very clearly said, we are also saying, sir, we are also saying to the court, some misinterpretation have happened in paragraph 25, highlighted what we have said there earlier, and appeal to the court saying, will you please correct those misinterpretations? So we'll wait for the court to give us their verdict on that. So the misinterpretation has not left without us going to the court on our own. If we are wrong or if we have something to hide, why will we go on our own, sir, asking for a correction and stating what was said earlier and what has been shown in the verdict? So let's be very clear on that. One important thing, sir, how is your agreement? How is your agreement better than what we had? I want to just very clearly say, how is your agreement better than ours, has been repeatedly asked. Again, quite a few members spoke about it. I want to just give you a few points to say on which score, on which count, our agreement, the intergovernmental agreement, is much better than what was in the non-deal. The non-deal, which did not happen, and their terms of condition, if you compare with us, in what way we are better. I'm giving you this, sir. I've already told you that the price that they're quoting for the basic aircraft, inclusive of escalation cost and inclusive of the exchange rate between euro and rupee, if taken on board, their basic aircraft would have cost 737 crore. Whereas ours, which we have said in the parliament, others, our price, which we have stated in the parliament, is 670 crore. So the price that we have obtained for the basic aircraft is at least 9% lesser. That is therefore our agreement has given a better deal. Point number one. Point two, why is ours better? There is an overall improvement of 5 months in complete deliveries of the 36 Rafale aircrafts as compared to the MMRC. So delivery time has been condensed and reduced by 5 months. Therefore, that's a second point on which I would say ours is a better deal than this. Second. Third, I want to say that the initial performance-based logistics support was for 5 years for one squadron. Initial performance-based logistics support was for 5 years for one squadron. In the 36 Rafale case, the performance-based logistics support is for 5 years for 2 squadrons, and therefore ours is better. Now, next point. And this increase and betterment in the performance-based logistics support is without any additional cost. This additional performance-based logistics support which we've obtained for 2 squadrons in the place of 1 which they had is without any additional cost, and therefore please remember that does not inflate the cost. Then there is also an increase in the performance-based logistics support in the
Deputy Speaker, sir, thank you very much.
It is very specific. Madam, while replying, she is quoting the Supreme Court verdict.
What is the point of order?
While quoting, I am telling 368. If a minister quotes in the House a dispatch of other state paper which has not been presented to the House, the minister shall lay the relevant paper on the table. On the Supreme Court verdict, 26 paragraph, she read. But in 26 paragraph, it is certainly not the job of this court to carry out a comparison of the pricing details in matters like the present. Minister, she is not read that. She is not read. She is totally misleading the House. She is totally misleading the House.
कोई पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर है नहीं. कोर्ट का जो ऑर्डर है वो पब्लिक में है. जो पब्लिक में है वो कर ही सकते हैं. No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, there is no point of order in this. We must continue.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, sir. Thank you, Deputy Speaker, sir. Now I continue. I've read.
पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर होगा तो रूलिंग मिलेगी ना. पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर है ही नहीं तो रूलिंग जाएगी मिलेगी.
Sir,
पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर होगा तब रूलिंग मिलेगी ना.
thank you, sir. Thank you for your ruling there. Now I go to the next point, sir. There is an increase in the PBL support in terms of flying hours also over the earlier PBL model. Even in terms of number of flying hours, the performance-based logistic support that we've got is much better than the PBL service that they had under the MMRC. Again, that was a non-deal, but still if you want to compare, now even in terms of flying hours, we've got a better deal. Then, in terms of industrial support, sir, I want to say the French commitment for the industrial support has increased to 50 years as compared to the 40 years that their non-deal had. So our deal, the intergovernmental agreement, is much better than the non-deal which they keep quoting. So 50 years we will have full support. The complete draft audit report has been received in the Ministry of Defence in December 2018. And the response for the same is under preparation. Now, I just want to be sure that I have addressed the main issues of process about which so many people ask questions. I've given the answers on the process, Indian negotiating team. I've also said about the interference by PMO, which many people raised. Monitoring happens in every PMO about how the works are going. And if that is construed as an interference, I wonder if I take out the record of UPA time interference from the PMO, how many such things will come out. The NAC itself was running the government. Was it a legitimate body? Was that an interference or not? NAC, the National Advisory Council, was running like a kitchen cabinet. Who asked them the question about it? So that is one thing. Then, about the urgency of obtaining 36 aircraft, I've given you an answer. Pricing, I've given you the answer together with what the Supreme Court has said. I again want to go to one point which I have not referred to. Why was the Eurofighter not considered? Shri Kalikesh Narayan Singh Dev raised it. Arvind Savanji of Shiv Sena raised it. I want to give the answer for that. On 14th November 2011, I remember telling that date again, referring to the previous Raksha Mantri. I want to go back to that. The bids were opened, and 10 days after, 14th November, 10 days after the bids were opened, EADS offered an unsolicited 20% discount on its Eurofighter offer. This is during UPA regime. An unsolicited bid cannot be considered as it vitiates the sanctity of the bidding process. So therefore, the government then rightly rejected this unsolicited offer of the Eurofighter. A similar offer was again made in July 2014, after the election, after the new government came. While the negotiations with L1 vendor under 126 MMRCA case were still under progress. The scrutiny of the proposal brought out that the offer is conditional and the factual inaccuracies with respect to both claims related to the reduction and better net present value. This was an attempt by the L2 vendor to reduce his cost after having known the cost of the L1 vendor, which is grossly inappropriate. Therefore, a fresh selection process would have meant, if we had gone through that route, a fresh selection process would have meant redoing all the technical tests across platforms, which are by their very nature time consuming and would have delayed matters further and compromised our already fragile air security scenario even more. And therefore, for all those who have asked, why didn't you go to Eurofighter? That's the answer. So I want to be clear that I've answered even that question which were raised by few members. One other question which floats around very easily and which is repeatedly asked. Qatar had procured Rafale at cheaper price. Why is yours not cheaper? I want to tell you, Madam Speaker, I want to tell you, there are different unauthenticated figures in public domain